This is the Talent, Sales, and Scale Show.
You know what's interesting in the recession? This is how my career got started. I took a job out of pure necessity. I left academia and I took a sales job to cold call IT professionals and sell them $2,500 training classes. That is literally the dumbest job that you could take, right? Because IT people clearly love to be called and they clearly love to be sold to. All right. So I take this job, no sales experience. And that was where I actually fell upon this whole recognition that all these complex sales scripts were not working, right? And I was like, whoa, hold on, there's got to be a different way to keep these people on the phone with me. Yeah. And I actually had to experiment. And that is where I truly experimented and came up with the Brand Trifecta. But here's what's fascinating is when we think about recessions and what's happening for business and small business today and what could be coming down the pipeline, not everybody's going to have a $5,000 a month marketing budget. Like, let's just call it out. But let me tell you, my friend, if you have the ability to show up in a Zoom room or go shake hands with somebody or be at the Chamber of Commerce event or do that kind of work, have your brand pitch down, because it's the one thing that actually enables you to sell smartly and get more of the right prospect to the table. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is get more prospects of the right kind to the table.
Right, and because otherwise it's just a waste of time, because your most valuable commodity is your time, because that's your limiting constraint. No matter what it is, it's how many conversations can you have, how many meetings can you have from a sales perspective. However, that's it. I don't care how much technology you throw at it, it's going to be at the top of the funnel, allow you to have maybe those more conversations more quickly. But that's the limiting constraint, is having those conversations. So if you had the right conversation with the wrong person, that's likely worse than having the wrong no conversation with the right person, because at least that doesn't suck up your time, that you can do things to get in front of that right person.
That's right. And it's interesting because I always get asked, well, okay, Kate, this sounds great conceptually, but like, what are the metrics that are impacted by your brand, right? Because I think if we really talk about ROI, you're going to go write your brand, you hire a copywriter, you're like, cool, we're going to get this nailed down because we're trying to speak to everybody. All right, let's say you go do that work. What should you see impacted? Yeah. You should see three things. Number one, increased number of qualified prospects, right? The right kind of buyer that you would want to talk to come to the table.
Now, let me pause you there. MQL, SQL, SAL, where are we at in that metric that you're looking at?
I mean, gosh, I don't even know if we need to get that granular, to be super blunt with you. Yeah. Like, do we even need to get that granular? Like,
well, it depends on what you're looking for and how complex of an organization they are.
I mean, let me try and answer it at a high level, because I have heard people throw what I'm going to show you into every category under the sun. All right. So like, however an organization wants to track, that's up to them. But what I would say is, number one, increase number of qualified prospects that come to the table. You define what ideal looks like. You have more of those people coming and having a conversation with you. Number two, you should see an increased close rate. Obviously, right?
Right.
Here's the third most fascinating one, though. Decrease in sales cycle time.
I was going to say you should see that, because if you're nailing the right person, identifying the real problem, they're going to move through the process more quickly because they want it to get solved. So I'd wholly agree with that one.
Yeah, honestly, like I guess what I would suggest is that that's one that you should be keeping out and a real eye out for if you're in any sort of B2B space, by the way. So if there is a proposal in your process and they're not just clicking a button to purchase, the number one thing that I see that blows people's minds is they go, whoa, we went from having to have like 2 to 3 meetings to getting a proposal at the door to 1 meeting and a proposal and a faster close time. Yeah, because you delivered a pitch in the Zoom room to the guy and he's like, oh my God, we should totally get me and Bob on the call and let's talk about this. And so if they hold that meeting, they're going to go stalk your website before they show up and they'll see the same message and go, yeah, oh yeah. And if they get on that call with you, they're no longer asking, what do you do? They're beyond that now. They're saying, well, we know what you do and here's what we're dealing with in our company. And can you fix this specific thing for us? How much further down the pipeline are they?
And you're already differentiated because no one else is doing that.
Bingo.
And this is where, especially as we move into this tightening market, the salesperson is going to be your differentiator, because to be a value seller, to sell in a consultative way, you have to be able to do these things. And if you can't differentiate yourself, if you cannot alter their pathway, because only 3% are ready to purchase today, maybe 7% or so are looking at this currently, the vast majority, that other 90%, did not wake up today going, oh my gosh, you know what I need today?
Right.
What you're selling. It just doesn't happen. So if you don't differentiate yourself, and if you don't go out and get budget where there isn't any, that's where you're going to fall flat, especially today.
That's right. And when you ask me, Kate, are what you talking about, MQLs, SQLs, all of it. Like, I have to just be really blunt with you here. Brand is one of the biggest things that creates alignment between your sales and your marketing arms of your organization. And we begin to start to see less delineation between how we qualify these metrics and come up with these metrics, and they're no longer siloed, but you begin to see that, oh my God, we're going for the same thing. This is how we're both defining ideal. And sales goes, yes, that is exactly who we want to be talking to, because we're closing those people faster. Marketing goes, beautiful, let me target that specific person because I've got psychographics and demographics, and I understand how to take that same message that you're using in the conversation over here and push that out over digital. I just want us to get our arms around the fact that brand really creates synergy among your sales and your marketing operations.